All right. Well, it's another week, another update. We're not going to let weather or lack of power keep us down. Yeah, that hurricane, that thing knocked me out for a few days. I'm still working to get everything back and running normal. Hopefully, I got enough juice in the tank to keep this computer going for a little while, and we'll get through some gets through some of the assets that we've been tracking. So let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin, like we normally do. We have been watching this area here for a smaller deep crab, really on the 4 hour chart. It's the daily, and it kind of works on the daily. Works better on the 4 hour. Cut down to the 4 hour and take a look at it. Here we go. So we hit our completion point, and we just tagged it at 66,550. It was an area we talked about in the members, but it isn't giving me a lot of confluence. Like this reaction is so far quite minor, and I haven't really seen it want to roll and take its target area yet. And I wish it would, because this is definitely a support area I'd like to see tested for a long. For a short, and even for a counter short, I'd prefer if we'd gone a little bit higher and hit that volume point of control. Maybe tried to wick through it and fall down. Didn't do that, so it's not giving me the highest opportunity for short yet. Now we could come back up, do that, and fall from there. We can check our target range from the lows to the higher of our move. Let's go ahead and put our target points on here. Not these guys. Okay, so that puts our target range, yeah, from here at the value area low at 60,000, all the way down to 57.9. The 57.9 gets us close to a daily level of support, and that would be another area. So I look for either a reaction here on the value area low in this box. I think if we hold over this low here, I think that would be ideal, and then come back up. Um, if we go lower, then I'll be looking here at just under, under 50, just under 58, that 57, upper 57s range, mid 57s. And I'd be looking to try and possibly long out of there and into our resistance. Now, if we go into the daily chart, some of you sharp-eyed guys are going to see this here. You're going to say, hey, couldn't this also be part of a slightly larger pattern with higher targets? And I believe that it is. So another area that I'm looking for, since we had such a nice touch here, close to that 786, but not quite. It's a little too far off for me to want to call it a Gartley. It's not quite the 618, so I'm not going to Gartley it. Plus, a little bit high here. For me, Gartley's got to be very precise. So I'm going to run this up to the 127, and we'll call this a pending butterfly. I feel like it fits better there. So we're going to pin this one at a butterfly up at, here's our butterfly zone at 75,687. Make that blue. There we go. So that could be another area that we'd be interested in taking a look at. Take all the liquidity from the highs, make a new high, a new all-time high for Bitcoin, and then get a correction from there before launching up. But I do think that we are on our way getting out of this channel. Like, we had our wick through, or sell through our support out of our zone, and then immediately bought back up, came down, retested that area onto our support box. And we've had this support box since June, I think. So it is held up pretty well. Gives us some tests. The monthly band remains bullish. The weekly band still remains bullish. We haven't broken far enough under the weekly to break it bearish. And if we're on the daily chart now, so I put my ATR on the daily, you can see the ATR has just barely, but confirmed that it is shifting bullish over the weekend. So It's not uncommon. And look, we're also EMA cross here. So we have our cross, we have our ATR shift, and it's not uncommon for that to want to come back and retest. Hence, this white box has so much interest for me. If we came down and retested that as support, it acted as support, it's go time. I think we hit at least 75. I'd like to see this pattern blow out. This could also fit as a bearish. Um, yeah, could also fit as a bearish crab pattern, and so it could want to launch all the way up into here at 83. So that's what I'd prefer. But I will keep an eye down here at 75. Should we get that direction for our next reaction there? For right now, though, like I said, I'm sitting and waiting for either a better test of stronger resistance or a better test of stronger support. We're kind of in this middle ground, and yes, we do have pattern, but we don't have momentum yet. And you can see that momentum is sideways. It's not giving us a bunch of clues. I mean, heck, it's been the weekend, so it's no kidding it, or no wonder it's been just trailing here. So that's my Bitcoin update. Let's run down into the indices. We could talk about the SPY for a little bit. The SPY also looks like it's wanting to start to trail out and roll over. It could come down and test our levels here at about 560. I think a good retest of this here, that could be healthy. Let's pull up some arrow pathways. I think maybe a test in here and hold 55, but at least a test to 560 to 55. And then I'd like to see it try to go higher one more time, where it just kind of starts to lose momentum, start to roll over. We're on a 4-hour chart here. That's not going to give us a lot on the macro. We could roll over, start to fail, and then come in for this pattern from a good sized area until we get into that target range we've talked about. Now we do have some support down here to chew through. Our white box support, which is coming as low as 511, and as early as 528. Let's take a look at the weekly. And yeah, I would like to see it capitulate a little, launch back up for one more run, and we could pull just a little more bearish divergence, and maybe pull this HPC um, indicator back up into the overbought, and then ram it back down. Let's look at the Qs. Now the Qs, I do have some upper patterns I'm watching. Oh, no, before we talk about the Qs, let's go to the ES1, because the ES1 is giving me pattern support that the SPY is not. This is S&P futures versus S&P. Well, yeah, these are many futures versus our trust. So it just depends on which one you're trading out against. Are you trading futures? Are you trading contracts against the trust? Anyway, this one is giving me some pattern support. So it's a little janky here, but it's close enough to that 886 that we could be forming a crab up to 6,000 on the S&P. So that's similar to what I want to see. When we talked about the SPY, is that we don't break this low. So we form a higher low to continue this leg up into 6,000. And then that brings us back down from this pattern, back down, and then, maybe trail down, kind of give it a spike into our target ranges, which I don't have on this chart, but, somewhere down in here, it's about 4,000. So that would be good to see. I think it's kind of what I'm looking for in October. It's my monthly assessment or projection. Now let's skip the Dow Jones. We need to get our. You're not going to skip the Dow Jones. let's get to the Qs first. We don't skip them, but the Qs are having a harder time. Now, they did break another high, so we have a higher low, higher high, but we haven't broken our prior major high yet, a 1618. So the Qs are struggling a little bit more than the S&P. I think they come down and maybe hit this ATR band uh, one more time and then continue up. I would like to see them come to about 524. I think that'd give us a nice butterfly to trade off of. We come into here and then eventually work our way back down into our target. So I would like to see that happen. Remember, that gives us more structure, and the more structure we have, the more bullish structure we can form. That helps us to see if we can't get out. If we do come down, if we can't form structure that would get us out of the zone reliably or predictably, to give us some really good prices on some farther leaning future assets. Um, Back to the Dow Jones. So the Dow Jones spiked up and hit our top area and fell right back in. That puts us see the excuse me, at the maximum extension for this shark. I don't want to see it hit higher than that. It needs to come down if this bullish shark is going to work. Remember, this is a leading harmonic. It is not complete until D point is reached. And if you don't like to trade leading harmonics, I don't blame you. They fail a lot more than completed patterns do. So caution there. This is just something we're watching. I want to look in on more local structure at the top here before making any bearish decisions, especially with market momentum climbing the way it has. Now we've come up in here and we have a lot of bearish patterns forming and have formed and a lot of divergence. So let's pull out into a weekly chart. All right. So came up over our 1618, our major 1618, but not so high that this is blown out, I don't think. It's getting close, at least on this chart. If you come into here, it's a lot. It's very much within range, right? It's just the futures chart that is kind of blown out. So this is still very much in range for this pattern and for the shark pattern. So I'd be keeping a closer eye on those. These, we could just change our anchor points. Like I said, it could be a smaller pattern in here on the daily. Got lots of them. In fact, I'm going to start trimming some of these guys out. And he's out of play, I think. This, it's hit both. And I like the blue one I have forming up here a little better. This guy, right like that. So I think this is a good selling tail. This is that the people just kind of got out right at the right time kind of idea. And I do want to see a little more weakness come in. If we come in and start breaking lows, so we break under 42,174 here, break that new low, I think that's kind of our indication that things are starting to roll over. This selling tail has done its job, and that it's time. People are exiting the market, and that's this low here. So we do have a gap to fill from this close. In fact, let me take the ATR off and see exactly if the top or the bottom closed. Yeah, actually, is a lower close. So from here to this open, we have a gap to fill in here. So if we come down, break this low, I'd expect a rebound and then a fail, and then come in, fill that gap, and then possibly work structure down bearish. And that's what I'll be looking for on the Dow. Um, I'm looking for weakness on the Dow, but I'm looking for strength on the Qs, and I'm looking for strength on the SPY. So I've got some options to play, depending on who's giving me the best looking signals. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll track it. I'll catch you guys again next week. Guys who are in the Discord, hit me up. Let me know what you want to see. I want to throw up some other assets like natural gas, oil, and I got a few others I'm looking at. Oh, altcoins in particular. I might do another altcoin video too. I've got a lot I want to go over this week. I think this is going to be a very interesting month. We played it cautious with September, um, when everybody else was super bearish, and we didn't take that many shorts because I just didn't see the weakness in the charts. This is where it started to look bad, and we played longs out of it, and they've succeeded. And then we just sat back and we played cautious, and now we're waiting for different structure. And I think October is going to give us those trades. That's going to give us those zones. It might give us our big short. We don't know. We'll just have to see where that goes, see where it takes us. If we don't get it, we don't get it. And I'm not going to cry about it because honestly, when you're trading, the price of the asset doesn't mean all that much anyway. It's the price difference in the asset from when you bought it to when you sold it. That's all that really matters. So you don't have to worry about buying the bottom or selling the very top as long as you're trading. If you're investing, yeah, I mean, you always want the best prices possible, but just constantly buy. If you average in, you're going to get at least a decent price if you're buying a decent asset. Anyway, that's enough of my preaching. I'll check you guys next week. See you later. Bye.